but like massive pools of liquidity on US ETFs, US public companies. And the case that has really won out is Zcash. That's a coin that, on the technical side, people in the crypto side might be arguing, oh, that's Mossad backed. But that's good because isn't Wall Street Mossad backed? Like if you think about just exit liquidity, you want Mossad backed, right? So people saying that like, oh, Monero is more private. That's like the real privacy coin. I mean, that's not what you want if you're looking for price action. And so Zcash is on both Coinbase and on Binance, and now got the Winklevi brothers supporting on a Nasdaq listing. So I'm looking at the headline here saying BSV greater than BTC. I see BCH, and by the way, I had to set up a wallet yesterday just to get some donations BCH because I don't have BCH. Um, so people think I'm here to show a bag, and it's like, no, I'm not here to dump on you because the move hasn't even started. So really, what I'm saying is like BCH is already on Coinbase, already on Binance. It doesn't have to talk about these things. I don't, to be honest, I don't even know what a Clarity Act. I'm gonna put that into Grok later. But the then you can imagine, Roger Ver just settled with Donald Trump, paid the U.S. government a huge bunch of money. Maybe BCH people can get a public company, and then I know it's one of the 10 coins in some of these like Bitwise, and I think it's already on the grayscale, in some of the things. So it's like that might be the narrative that people are moving on to. Like if BTC is weak and you want to take out Michael Saylor, do you really take out Michael Saylor by trying to get the third version of Bitcoin in the public's eyes out to compete with BTC? Or is there like a second version of Bitcoin that is, right now 150 times less, but it's accessible? And if you can get that out, maybe you can get Michael Saylor out. And there are people who are believing BTC, but might even support BCH because they want those BTCs. If you're Warren Buffett, if you've missed out on the last 10 years of crypto, you want um, Michael Saylor to fail so you can come in with JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and the US government and create a bailout plan at below NAV, take all the coins, wipe out the equity holders mostly, get a huge amount of warrants, make a huge speech about how you're protecting Americans against fraudsters, backstopping America by making sure all the bondholders who are, your pension holders, the pension plans, all those people that bought the credit at the STRC and those at STRK, these kind of things of Michael Saylor's, those people are bailed out. But really, what it is a money grab for Warren Buffett. So it's kind of thing where like Warren Buffett is too rich, he has too much money, he has like $100 billion or whatever he has in cash. So he has $300 billion in cash, right? He has more treasuries than both stable coins, USDT and USDC combined. He can't go to Coinbase.com 10 years ago or Binance.com 5 years ago and go click buttons and buy Bitcoin. That's just not how he can move. So in a way, he's gotten his buddy, whatever, a little insider game, Michael Saylor, to collect all of our Bitcoins into a public company, into a game that he is familiar with. And then on a complete liquidation moment, he doesn't have to pump the price of BTC to get all the BTCs. He can just get it all for cheap, for even a discount, because he can buy like 600,000 Bitcoins at once and make some kind of deal. Like Tim Draper acquired 18,000 Bitcoins in the Silk Road auction 2014. I remember that very well. I think at about $600. He was down for a while, but now look at him. So this might be a way for Warren Buffett to acquire Bitcoin at about 25,000 and acquire 600,000 Bitcoins or some portion of that, and for Wall Street to get that. And so people like that may very well be, listing a BCH onto the public markets because even if you think they are all deep state, it's not like BCH is at all a threat to them either. 32 megabytes versus 1 megabyte. It's kind of like the you don't get Ron Paul in there. You get a left wing, right wing, Mitt Romney, a Barack Obama in there. And who cares who wins? Left, right's the same thing. So I think there's a play here to get BCH out there into the thing. They're already trying with Zcash, right? Maybe they keep trying with Zcash. But if it's not Zcash, I don't think it's BSV. I think it's BCH. And so they're going to leave us in the shadows. So for the people that kind of missed on this move of BTC the last 5 years, maybe the next 5 years may be BCH. So that's what I like to come in and talk to this space about, similar to how I talked to the space about 5 years ago. We have a really fast chain, we have a really scalable chain called BSV. But over here, they got this thing that they're also advertising with neon colors called Solana, and it's $2. And so if you stayed in BSV land making NFTs and DeFi like I did and Twitch people and Handcash, you missed out this entire move by Solana. So I like to think that there are some powerful people out there that are going to play the BCH people. And if you want to call me, paid for CCP, whatever, I'm saying, look, I might be a supporter of BSV. I'm saying that you got to understand some of the games at play here, and it might be BCH first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, dude. I know that you're a BSV whale, Jack. I mean, I know that you're a supporter. It's not a, you got skin in the game. So anybody who says that you don't have skin in the game, they don't know what they're talking about. So I realize that, dude. So you got skin in the game, and you want this to win. So, but your insight is totally valuable and always appreciated. I mean, it would be great to see, how we can work together with those guys at BCH somehow. I mean, I don't know how that would how do you think we can all capitalize on this?
Yeah, so I think what would be really good is to make BSV less threatening, cancel Teranode, uh, fix the block size at 1 GB, don't expand it anymore. And then and then you can get yourself onto the ETF, onto the markets. Now I'm being a little bit facetious, right? But I'm also saying that, like, if you're not going to do that, if you think that's like ridiculous, okay, but it is actually a choice. So you can be like another non-threatening independent party to the political system of Bitcoin, and leave the tough work of changing the world to somebody else, right? You just come in and with 1 GB, okay, fix it right there. And get Craig Wright to fight for something else after, okay, and then you can pump your bags. So
Mhm.
that's like a BSV fork, right? Get like a slight limiting BSV on board, Peter McCormack, etc. But if you don't want to do that, right, and you really truly believe in Bitcoin as like the change the world thing, you got to focus on two areas. You got to either be the biggest asset manager, like the scalability of my chain is able to have, the USD, a USD stable coin on it, or a BTC coin on it, or a Ethereum on it, as in we're going to help asset manage the entire crypto ecosystem to start, and then gold, silver, dollars, stocks, and like just have the most AUM. You have to go after AUM. You cannot be going after, how to make a website on the blockchain and have it like run with a backup and it can't be taken down. Like you got to go after AUM, like money on the blockchain. Okay, amount of value on the blockchain. Okay, that's what you got to go after. Or you got to go after people's dopamine. Like, okay, I got a chain that can go really, really fast, right? Okay, great. So how much faster can I get than TikTok? How much faster can I get than Pump.fun? How much faster can I get than Hyperliquid? In terms of like one button might become $1 trillion. Like that you got to compete in the come press this button or come think this thought or come look at this AR. You got to compete in this like 1 second infinite possibilities. Not a lottery. Lotteries are zero-sum game, but in this like shared hallucination, holy shit, I can get like everyone into this bag, this like launch pad idea. You need to focus on that. So it's either large scale assets management, uh, or super dopamine hitting get rich buttons. It cannot be backing up a movie on the blockchain. So if you want to watch a movie, you can watch it. It cannot be put some like, poem on the blockchain like I did like I said 7 years ago for provable like Bitcoin files kind of a thing. So I tend to think that like right now you need to go after the button side of things first. And then as you get your ecosystem a little bit bigger and a few builders come back, a few more users come in, because like if there's only 5 users, together the 5 users cannot hold all the tokenized gold, but the 5 users, if there's a button for me to press that, holy shit, I'm gonna be up like 20x, I can get more users coming on. Like BTC had no like effectively on-chain users, right? But the ordinals protocol was this button. Now you can say BSV has an even better ordinals protocol, and then, oh, this is why we didn't beat the BTC ordinals protocol, and now with Teranode and this upgrade, and the ordinals are even better, and you can now like add metadata to the ordinals. The problem is if you're going after the second part I'm talking about, which is people's dopamine, people's attention, people's like holy wow factor, let me get on this right now. If your description of what your thing does even includes the word ordinals, you're dead, right? That's just what's smart about Casey is he used the word ordinals while Ethereum used the word like ERC 721 and NFTs. Like you need a different world that can a word that can break through people's like conditioning, right? So we cannot be YouTube, but it's on the blockchain with micropayments. It's humanity. Believe me, I lost at least have $100,000 supporting that thing. Uh, and you cannot be, oh, I can do NFTs too, like Relay X, we did a bunch of NFTs. You cannot be like, oh, I can also do stable coins, MNEE, but like Circle already did stable coins. You got to do something new that is also like massively uh, profitable on the click of a single button. Not like wait 9 months and enterprise and meetings and think about business. You got to think about this. So the people that like ignore crypto, um, they don't understand is that like you need to be like a 100x improvement over crypto instead of dismissing crypto and going after some other market. I remember very, very much 5 years ago, because crypto wasn't quite 3 trillion in market cap, it was more like 30 billion or something. It was like, yeah, but who do you know that's actually in crypto? That's like such a small market. That's nothing. I'm going after this other market that's bigger. But that other market is not a new market. You're just going after an other IBM slash institutional slash government CBDC. Like you're just going after another existing market. And like Peter Thiel says, people don't move over unless you're 10 times better. And it's bad to be in the semantics. Oh yeah, I am 12 times better versus I'm 7. If you just do something actually completely new, you don't have to worry about that. And so now that crypto is much bigger, it's harder to ignore. And so now we're kind of saying, okay, yeah, well, I accept crypto is good, I accept ordinals is good, but my ordinals is better, my NFTs is better. I don't think that's going to work. You're going to have to come up with something new that you do with this blockchain. So I had an idea the other day of like, well, BSV is quantum resistant. You could be right now the first Bitcoin to be the quantum resistant. But then Google search and then fuck. The same night, the BCH guy released a blog post saying that they are going to be quantum resistant on mainnet in less than 6 months, and they have everything ready. And it turns out that our version of quantum resistance is like got to save every single UTXO, all this other stuff. It's like you got to solve the user's um, need for ease of use in a one button moon. Like I understand we think that $20 BSV can go to $100,000 and flip BTC. Great. What is that? That is a 5,000x or something. I don't know what it is, but yeah, something like 5,000x. Great. But Pump.fun has historically offered people a 5,000x within 1 hour, right? Like 1 minute or 20 minutes. You got to be competing in that field. You can't convince them. Like overall, BSV will flip BTC if within BSV you got shit going on that is insane. So I don't know if there's another asset class we can come up with that's not fungible tokens, that's not NFTs, but we need that kind of person. And we don't even need to know what that is. I don't know what that is. I've actually invented very little things in my life, okay? Because I'm not technical. I might have done Dogenos, but someone else did Ordinals. I might have done a public company, but someone else did Metaplanet. Like I've never invented much, okay? So what I'm saying though is you gotta shine through the messaging. If you keep on talking about BSV is some like Clarity Act is this year. Last year is court case. The last year before that is the Miami court case. You're not going to attract the kind of builder, the kind of viral attention app builder that's going to build you something like this. So I understand that this is the real blockchain, the legal blockchain, the blah, blah, blah blockchain. I understand that. Keep that in the background and like lighten up the chain as a chain for experimenting on hyper viral things. And if Teranode needs 3 years to come out, fuck Teranode. What can we do like right now? Like there's a lot of this like kind of like don't judge me by the market. I don't care about the price. I don't care it's 20 because I know I'm changing the world. Because what I'm working on, which I can't show you right now, which is it's super cool, but I can't really tell you about it because I don't want someone to steal the idea. All this energy is wrong because like no one actually believes that you actually have an idea that's really, really good, right? I have people who listen to me because the moment I have an idea, I tell you about the idea, whether it's quantum Bitcoin or BCH, or the moment I inscribed already I told you about Ordi so that people could actually inscribe Ordi at $1, right? So and that is something that went up 68,000x. And yeah, you can call it pump and dump, but as of right now, I think it's still a 4,000x or maybe 40,000. I don't know what it is, but it's still something insane. I think 12,000x, maybe
Credit to
something
Jack Liu
crazy.
for bitmap too. It was you that did the bitmap.
Bitmap, yes, I tell you in real time. So if someone doesn't have something to tell you in real time, our community needs to be harder on those people. Like, no, sorry, we're not here to wait 3 years for your patent to be filed. We're not here to wait for your new management to come in. If if this CEO, Stefan Matthew, is not good enough, I'm not gonna believe that Christian Eiger Hansen is be good enough. And I said that the first day he was appointed, and everyone wanted me off the microphone because they were like, "Are you a billionaire? This guy's a Norwegian billionaire." And then you wait a whole year, and then he fucks you, and then you're like, "I knew he was fucked from day one." No, you didn't. You didn't say it on day one, okay? And not you, Gavin, but I'm talking about people in this community. And then now we have to wait for another rebrand of a new CEO, and it's no longer called Enchain. Uh, it's called Teranode, right? Uh, and so why I say things like Teranode is gonna be a brand new chain and whatever, you can get on me for it's not gonna be a brand new chain. It's just like there is no monetization value. The patents are not sold for money. The court case wasn't won for money. So if you're gonna do a Teranode, do you really think these people are doing a Teranode for the charity, the BSC blockchain? Maybe they'll implement it onto BSV, but they're certainly going to be commercial enough to try and think about a new chain. And then you got to look at Craig Wright's track record, right? He talks about how law's going to back him, and now he's saying law screwed him. He talks about how there's no way the US government is going to let this shenanigan go, and now he's saying, well, who could tell that like Donald Trump would get into office and that this thing was way more corrupt? So it means that this guy is gullible enough to be fucked over by Jihan, to be fucked over by Core, to be fucked over by Gavin Andreessen if he happen to be a Satoshi. In terms of Gavin didn't maintain his leadership within the core group. He got fucked over by U.S. government, fucked over by institutions, fucked over by people within Enchain. So even though he may be absolutely correct that he fully believes that Terranode will be implemented onto BSV, you have to understand that there are people that are trying to fuck him over. So it's not Craig's right fault, but there is something like that, which means our community needs to be looking for, okay, instead of talking about grandiose goals like $100,000 BTC, are we excited about moving the needle and making BSV go from 20 to 22? Are we excited about that? Can we get excited about that? Can we get excited about having going from 19 users to 25 users? Can we get excited about 2 apps to 3 apps, 5 builders to 7 builders? Can we get excited about that? We cannot be getting excited about some grandiose, massive thing coming down out of the sky called some Clarity Act. And once that is proven, we are overnight going to be that. I I fully believe that BSV will flip BTC in 24 hours, but there's some lead up to this 24 hours that then has that explosion. I don't think our infrastructure right now is there. Like, what app was download during this 24 hours? Where am I supposed to store my BSVs? What's supposed to happen? So I just want us look, you know, denial is a great feeling because you can keep on saying that no, we're on the right side, and just tomorrow we're going to be BTC. I rather embrace the pain of like, for better or worse, uh, we are right now a $20 coin. We are a number 102 coin. We're not a special snowflake. It might be the original Bitcoin. It might not be. I don't know. I don't even care about that. But what can we do here to go from 102 to 97? And are people in it for that? And those are the people that you want to interview. Those are the people you want to hear from. Those are the apps that you want to experiment with. And let's talk about what does number 92 have that we don't have in 102. And then it might be something that you don't want to hear, like, oh, they have minor validated tokens. They have this. They have they're private, they're untraceable, whatever these qualities are. Let's go tackle them. instead of yeah. Yeah. Instead of like, we don't need to tackle them. I don't care about what's going on with crypto. I don't care. If you like crypto, go to crypto. I don't even know about anything about crypto, but you know what I do know? My thing is the best thing since sliced bread. How can you say that your thing is the best thing ever if you don't even take the liberty to like study the rest of the ecosystem, right? That is like absurd. That is like absurd mindset. So that's a long rant. And uh whoever is in this ecosystem, like I want them to embrace this. And failure to embrace this mindset, um, we're just we're gonna be seen as like nut jobs, okay? And it's not gonna happen. It's like you want your ultimate goal if you're a Ron Paul supporter is to have Ron Paul actually become the president of the United States and actually end the Fed. Your goal cannot just be shilling about conspiracies about the U.S. political system and he's gonna win, but then he got fucked, and then he got wins, and he got fucked, and then in the end he's not actually the president, and you got a choice between Mitt Romney, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, okay, and George Bush and Jeb Bush and people like this. So if you think you're backing this thing that's like actually gonna change the world, you got to go roll up your sleeves and play a little bit dirty, a little bit like eyes wide open, eyes wide shut, whatever that movie is, and go play, right? The proof, no offense, okay? I don't want to say this about myself and whatever, but like the proof is when you actually meet some resistance by the right now, they don't even care about us. They don't even think we're resistance, right? So let the entrepreneurs figure that out. So far, I see like I don't see a lot of this. Maybe and then you have to admit, maybe we're wrong. Like maybe there is not something we can do better than crypto, and we have to like maybe accept that for a second. And then people want to say, "No, Jack, you're wrong. There is something we can do better that crypto cannot do." Then come to the forefront with whatever. And so we are a $20 coin. Okay, $20 coins do not organize huge ass conferences in London Blockchain Week. Wearing suits. We just need to be the appropriate size of what we are, which is we are a garage, a bunch of bandits, tinkering and whatever. This whole idea that like we're the most legitimate, we're the court, we're the spend the legal bills. I mean, Calvin probably spent more in legal bills than the entire market cap of BSV. That is not the right way to build an ecosystem. Our
Corporate
ecosystem,
BSV.
yeah, corporate BSV. We cannot be that. We cannot be government BSV. So, um, we are a little tiny blockchain that is worth 20 bucks each. Okay. And what can we do to make it $22? And we got about $4 left in funding left. And whatever. That is our mindset. And I know that works because Simply Cash was built by one developer in like 2 days. He hasn't updated the app in 5 years. It means that you can build this. RelayX was built overnight. RelayX built you a ordinal inscriber using BSV as payment, like within 24 hours of building a regular ordinal inscriber. So like these things are buildable. We need to embrace this community and buy a bag, and I'm going on and on and on here. But the more we accept reality, we'll take the pain for one day, but the next day it's going to be really, really exciting. I don't want to be hearing about is Craig right, Jesus Christ? Okay, I don't want to hear about these things. I want to know what little button is there a new feature for Money Button that I can use. I don't want to hear about Money Button will be integrated with Facebook and New York Times. Okay, and these things that people talk about on stage. I don't want to hear grandiose. Okay, I want to hear like Pump.fun is not going out there pre-product, going to a conference saying, "Give me money, I will replace YouTube and live streaming and Twitch." They're not doing that. They started with a little button. You can make shit coins, okay? Say what you want, but the morality of that, they started with that and got users. Then they were like, okay, let's make these coins a little bit more fun because we already have chatting about the coins. Why don't we have streaming? And they added streaming. Then they got taken down by the government, be like, what the fuck is streaming going on here? You got like basically ridiculous illegal shit going on this content. They took it down. They went back and grinded, and then they brought the streaming back. I don't know what they're doing now, but whatever. So we have, starting with myself, have a problem in the fact that we don't want to grind. We want to cope. We want to say, "Oh, schmuck, the world's against us, the whole
Coping.
conspiracy," and then, but there's this one more great big event on the horizon. QAnon, Jesus Christ coming back, Clarity Act, court case, and right after that, without me building anything, boom, we're good. Or if we just throw all the crypto people in jail, then we're good. Like no, you got to start with something super super small and not grandiose. So from
Right.
this point onwards, I don't really care
Yeah,
about.
I just
I
no, I
want to know
think
if is BSV the real BCH. Okay, I don't even want to hear about is BSV the real BTC. I'm done with that. Thanks.
all right. Yeah, no, it's good, Jack. This is really insightful. Glad to hear you, really share your share from the heart, and I love that about you. You really just freaking let it out, let it all out, man. Nothing holding back, and so it's a really a beautiful vision that you helped to paint on like just taking it down to the basics, like just the little basics. Training wheels. We're just riding with training wheels right now. We're barely trying to ride a bike. We're not gonna change the world tomorrow. It's not gonna happen. It's a we just got to take one baby step at a time. And one of the elements is just about how do we do that, and that's like the one of the things you mentioned, which was like building businesses, like building little small little apps. Like these are the ways. This is one of the major elements of how this all happens. So I mean, how some of the visions that you painted before was like how the actual. I mean, take me into the mentality of how the flippening would happen if you were to see it were to happen. What has to happen? What do we have to do to make a flippening happen at some point in the future?
Great question. Yeah, it's easy to rant and scream. It's hard to answer tough questions. So you got me on the spot here. I'm not a know-it-all. How to make the flipping happen. Like the flipping happens not because of a disaster on another chain, because there's always other things you can go into. So like if FTX failed, you can just not use FTX, and you can notice that they still use centralized exchanges. If a Michael Saylor fails, it would be really bad for BTC, but they will just move on to something else. They don't necessarily come to BSV. So I think something has to happen within BSV that grows very, very fast. And then you will have people come in. So I fundamentally believe that the solution is going to be very elegant. It's not going to be requiring years and years and years of research, and it's going to be something that's going to happen on chain. It's not going to be something that happening outside the chain, like a courtroom or a declaration or whatever, because the government can tell you to go to school doesn't mean you want to go to school. It's like the government can tell you to buy BSV, you still might not buy BSV. So like people need an actual reason to like the government declared TikTok illegal. It doesn't mean that like people don't want to still use TikTok. So like so you're gonna have to do something on chain. And if Bitcoin has these things like script and the other versions of Bitcoin do not have script, then it's got to be something you can do with the script. And packaged in a way that consumers can access. So, I think what we're missing is we're missing one phase of using the scripts. So, what we have so far in BSV historically is we have people that are uh, the knowledge, the intellect, the Craig Wright, that can write the patent about what is possible with Bitcoin. And then you have someone who can interpret that patent, like a Xiaohui, who can write you the demo or how a little few lines of code of how that patent could be implemented. But that is not something that you can use. And then you have people that basically previously built companies or products, like end to end, myself included, like RelayX, Handcash, MoneyBun. I uh, customer service, and you have this very thin thing in the middle that's like, okay, I've open source like essentially like the locking script. Like I've taken this idea of like you can do locking, you can do like Craig Wright patents, but I've made a locking script that then allows any app to use that locking script. Uh, like run as an open source token set of thing, indexer or something that people can use that. You need this type of thing to take off. I think something like React on chain, like what Wags has done, is interesting. But what specifically is if BSV is something that can go in 24 hours and go up 5,000x, that means that like you must build in a way that like your business is actually obsolete within 24 hours also. because like who the fuck is going to use your product once the entire world, including Mark Zuckerberg, Jensen Huang, Donald Trump, are all looking at, oh my God, BSV is $400,000 each. They're not going to need to use your little app, right? So you need to get off your ego and stop making the app with a business model that you're trying to fundraise for end to end like a normal product, because that product is not efficient enough at using the core functions of Bitcoin. So if everything's on chain and it's interoperable, and that's the whole point of having a huge blockchain, then we cannot be in servitude of a particular closed central app. And I think there's some kind of like trauma in Craig where he had, you know, things stolen from him as a little kid or something. So he really wants to like have a court declare him, or like have a patent to hold on to something. But that is not true capitalism. What you want is to look at every single UTXO on the blockchain. You don't want this like, well, how am I supposed to make money then? No. The whole point of you making money is you all buy a bag of Bitcoin for 20 bucks, and then you try and create the most elegant open source little thing. So not for the purpose. So Craig writes things for the purpose of a patent filing. Xiaohui writes things for the purpose of a Medium blog post. You need to write some lines of code for the purpose of making it so that AI and other dumb as fuck builders can just, wow, I can take this tool plus whatever. So you want to be training the AI, you want to be training the plebs, you want to be training the open source builder community to be able to use your tool, and you want to make your tool really good, like using a very thin layer of whatever is in that Bitcoin script. And you guys know better than me what's in the Bitcoin script, because I don't even know how to use a laptop. Okay. So like that's what I'm my belief is that. And then one of those things, or many of those things, will be adopted. And then the race is between, does BTC add scripting capabilities and increase the block size faster than the virality of what's happening on chain? And that virality has to be multi-dimension, like all overnight. Now there's 400 builders, like what happened to Ordinals, right? That's a very thin,
Right.
that was not an app. Casey did not build a website. Casey did not raise a VC funding for like a Magic Eden like marketplace, right? 1 second.
No, I couldn't agree more. Like that, basically, like you're talking about how these guys. Yeah, okay, Casey's back on. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, the entire doing a. Well, actually, why don't we go over to you, Craig? You know, you're up. I see you're up here too, Craig Mason. Do you want to chime in?
Yeah, Jack. Good to hear from you again. The thing about being concerned about BSVers being seen as a bunch of nut jobs is that ship has sailed a long time ago. We're already seen as a bunch of nut jobs, and I don't think it really matters. And you know, all this stuff about we have to have something right away that's a big overnight success. That's the same stuff you were saying 3 years ago, you know, and you would poo-poo stuff like, well, in the long term, we're building something here that's going to really create a lot of value that everyone's going to need. Because if you look at, like, for example, I was listening to the Wall Street Journal podcast, which has a lot of viewers, and one of the advertisers was USDC, and like, we're going to have stable coins, and everyone sees stable coins coming. You know, you look at the, I don't know if you know the Genius Act in the US, but they passed regulation for stable coins. It'll also be backed one for one. And there's all this talk of stable.
I was at Circle as managing director on the executive committee for the launch of USDC.
That's great. That's fine.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. So everyone
talking
knows
about something that I know more
Jack,
about than
Jack, you go for like 45 minutes ranting the same 5 points over and over again, and then you interrupt me 45 seconds in. Can I just finish?
You're midway.
Wait, Jack, hold on.
Jack, you were saying all this shit about RelayX is gonna RelayX Club is gonna change the game in 40 hours. You guys don't even know what's coming.
Yeah, and then I pivoted from RelayX and did Org Swap, and it actually did change the game within 40 hours. Exactly.
What value has that provided to anybody?
That's what I'm saying. You care about things like value. I'm saying go viral.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. So that's the fundamental difference that we've always disagreed. And I think a lot of people
Yeah,
in
and
this.
your value is you've made
But
everyone's
see,
bags go down to $20. That's your value.
I didn't make anybody's bags go into anything. I
All
don't
right,
build
see you
shit.
guys. I gotta jump. Bye.
That's the thing. This is what every time I've ever talked to Jack, as soon as they're talking about value and any of this stuff, he can't talk about it. And so the bottom line is like, yeah, we can have these viral things. And I'm not here to hate on Jack's projects. I've used them all, and all the BSV projects that have gone, didn't become as big as they wanted. I'm not trying to deride those at all. The only reason I said that about Jack is because he's so fixated on all of these big, you have to go viral overnights. It's the same thing he was saying 3 years ago with, we just have to get on the next pump. We have to get on the D. Solana did that. They made a lot of money. Everyone knows about Solana, and nobody knows about little old BSV for now. But back then, BSV did not have 1 million transactions per second on chain. And now it does. And that's all this long-term stuff, all this stuff that Jack was saying, oh, don't trust Craig. Don't worry about that. We have to go viral right now. And BSV is playing the long game. And sure, that makes the price go down to $20 because, one, it's suppressed. Two, nobody cares. And so, sure, I guess you could say that's not great in the short run. It's certainly painful. And I don't know if it's going up tomorrow, but the bottom line is that stable coins are going to be big. On chain, there's a million, everyone knows in BSV, there's a million things you can do on chain that are really cool with micropayments, and BSV as a currency is really cool. And all the smart contracts you can do on chain is really cool. And all the other ones that have innovated, that's awesome. But the thing is that I think almost everybody in BSV knows is that you can do all of that on BSV, but at scale, and it actually works. And if people want these really cool things, but all these other chains, you go to the big crypto conferences and you've got, okay, we can do this smart contract, we can do this application, we can do all these different things that everyone looks at and goes, well, that's really cool. You could, pay for a video, or, get own like a book online via a token or something, or have access to an NFT. All those things are cool, and people see they're coming, and they want NFTs, and they want US dollar stable coins or any stable coins. People see the value in that, and that's all growing, but it only works on BSV in the long run. And that's what people don't, that's like per second actually on chain and fulfill the one thing that actually made Bitcoin a revolution, which is electronic peer-to-peer cash, that everyone seems to have forgotten about except for BSV. Maybe there's another one. I don't know. I've never heard of it. No one else talks about this besides BSV. And that's what's going to make BSV moon overnight. Whether it's people understanding that and BSV going up in price, or if it's like you were talking about earlier, Gavin, where we just do so many transactions that the miners have to switch. The bottom line is the protocol and the system on BSV has been built, and it's the only one that makes sense. So the pumping in the short run, it doesn't really matter. We've built, not me, I didn't build shit, but they have built on BSV rails that are going to be the new system of finance potentially. I mean, the odds seem to go up every day when you really look at it. 6 years ago, BSV seemed like kind of a, it's like kind of a pipe dream. Like, oh, we're going to scale to all these transactions. Like, okay, well, we just forked from Bitcoin Cash and we're having trouble getting over 20 megabyte blocks. What's that, like 140 transactions per second or something? So that seemed like a pipe dream back then. And even back then, people were saying the same thing. It's like everything should run on BSV. And now it's coming to fruition. They've tested 1 million transactions per second, 4 million transactions per second. You've got the BRC 100 vendor neutral payments like you were talking about. Now the infrastructure is there. Everyone wants these things. And to be fixated on all this stuff, and I don't like to just slag people off or pick on people, but Jack comes in here and does that same song and dance. And I'm not saying he's like a deep state asset, but I think it's just wrong. And he doesn't want to hear anything else. And the bottom line is that the rails have been built, it's on chain, and sure, BSV might say at $20. BSV might go down to $5. Fine. But in the long run, where does this all end? I don't see how it ends any place but BSV. And the narrative on BSV being a scam is breaking. The narrative on BTC being some kind of massive number go up Valhalla is crumbling as well. So Jack or anybody else can say what they want, but it doesn't change my opinion at all. I don't find it in the slightest compelling to not think about this in the long term with real value.
Right on, dude. Craig Mason. All right, let's go over to Bose. He's got his hand up.
Hey, Gavin. Thanks.
What's up, dude?
Thanks,
Good to see
Craig.
you.
Yeah, good to see you too. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Cool. So, I kind of just wanted to point out that like I would advise to pay attention to what your triggers are, what's triggering your emotional state, because kind of get the impression that, everybody's hooked, and they're hooked on price, and maybe they're hooked and their hopium is their drug of choice is that the price is suddenly going to go from 20 to 10,000 overnight. And I would caution against that because it seems that the sell pressure from BTC would drive the price of BSV down, and there's loads and loads of bottlenecks and there's loads and loads of gatekeepers that will stop that happening. So from that point of view, like the first thing to be aware of is that like maybe it's a slow grind upwards. And so obviously Jack's thesis is immoral and it's just chasing like quick pumps, right? And basically, I mean, his attempts at building platforms and businesses aside, if the philosophy that he relentlessly comes forward with is how do you create new token scams? I mean, whether it's Audi or or Ord Swap or any of the other things that he's tried, it's like he's quite good at doing that, but it doesn't create value, and he won't engage in conversations about how to create value, and I've tried to have those with him as well. And well, certainly in Jack's case, like actually the thing that meant the Relay X didn't work fundamentally was that he turned down the whole idea of KYC. If he had had KYC, then he could have had real world assets on there. He could have had real builders. You could have got things like React on chain incorporating and had floating shares on Relay X. And it would have created a whole on-chain economy. And because Jack is not prepared to have that conversation, he's never going to get to that point. So I'd caution against listening to him entirely, unless he turns around and says, actually, yeah, I could relaunch Relay X and do it properly in a regulated way, and that would create value. But until he says something like that, it's kind of like it's all schemes. So, I mean,
All right,
look, I'm going to be very straightforwardly critical. But my initial criticism there wasn't, in fact, going to be against Jack. It was actually cautioning to Craig Mason here.
Well, hold
who
on.
I like, who I like this.
Let's try to stay away
Go
from the
for it.
criticism. I want to talk about really like, bringing value, right? And how do we win here? Okay.
No,
So
at the same time, though,
I'll
I'd
spin
be
it back
happy to
you.
hear any criticisms. I'm always happy to hear it.
What's that noise?
Is that Tupac?
Where's that coming? Is that you, Kate?
Yeah. Someone has the radio on.
Somebody has the radio on? Where's that? I'm going to mute that. Oh, actually, I don't really care. It's okay. Go.
No, it's just like you're talking about all this stuff, then you start hearing like Tupac, and it's like, what just happened? Yeah. So no, listen, everyone's gonna expect me to say this, having only been researching it for 2 months, but just talking to so many people who are high level experts, I understand it about as well as anyone can, I think, for having only looked into it for 2 months. So I'm going to agree with Craig and Jack in that, like, so if the tech isn't there, then it's not going to work, right? That's the short form answer. But like from Jack's standpoint, if you want to see it like move at all, do what no one else in this industry has done. Make it user friendly. Make something. How about instead of everyone having their own project, everyone compilates on one project that is so addictive and user friendly that everyone adopts Web3 for the first time on BSV. So how many people, let me ask you this. So in this chat and in crypto Twitter and people who are in crypto, like
Yep.
you guys don't understand. This is me. This is like, I'm speaking like for the public here. How many people have used Candy Crush, right? Played Candy Crush versus people that have bought crypto? A way larger proportion of the world has played Candy Crush because it's fun, it's addicting, and it's easy. So I think there's something to be said for just do something so user friendly and so honestly, you can go like yeah, let's just call it stupid. Put it up there and like this thing is so it's so highfalutin, right? Because you have Dr. Craig on like on the engineering side, on the at the front of the team, obviously
Okay.
the
Yeah.
capability is there, or
Yeah.
at
Okay.
least that's what everyone is telling me. Okay, that's like 10 people who I talked to for 3 hours at least. So if that is there, I think there is something to be said for just put something out there that, maybe don't even call it Web3, just call it like, here's an app and you just click a few buttons to get into it and you could play this game or do something that's very valuable to you. Um, Maybe without even having to buy crypto or I don't even know if that's possible, but that's what goes viral and no one's going to give a damn about crypto. And I know you guys all do, and like I do too, because I try to start reporting on it in blockchain industry, and I'm completely ambivalent as to whether or not I should even post these in-person interviews, self-funded by me with all these different crypto projects and blockchains, in this entire industry. I'm ambivalent about whether or not I want to spend my time editing them to my standards and posting them after sort of seeing what's going on here. It's just not user
Absolutely.
friendly, so it's not going to be adopted. It's kind of like whoever adopts it first, even if it's something so trite as something on the level of Candy Crush, like that brings everybody else in. I think there's like it's like an echo chamber. I'm taking that quote from Casey who I was talking to last night. Like everyone in here, like you think this is something that everyone's focused on. No, like the public doesn't care. That's like
I'm
99% of the
checking.
world. So you just give them one simple thing and then they get it. And it can't be like, sign up, buy crypto, use it, like it just has to be like like he said, a click of a button thing. But like I also agree with Craig, like if the tech isn't there, forget about it. But if the tech is there, then you need to simplify the equation. And what do I know about that? Nothing. I'm not a developer. I don't own any BSV. I own like $10 in crypto that was given to me for free. I have no skin in the game. I'm just saying that nobody, like the public perception is so poor. uh but yeah, they'll download an app that's addictive and fun and they'll use that. Do they care if it's a
Oh, I
web3
found
app?
you.
No. But when they track it back to, hey, it's BSV, it's like, oh, then they start looking at that and they're like, well, okay, actually I like this, and that's relevant. And also like from the conspiracy side, like yeah, like everyone should, yeah, it is a conspiracy. It is like I've definitely seen it. Like that's my opinion. I'm like I can't say I'm 100% sure. Why? Because I haven't like tested Teranode personally, but I'm like not, with the 95% sure that it is the best tech in the industry. So if that's there and you just dumb it down, you got to dumb it down. People aren't going to adopt this until you dumb it down, and everyone's probably like rolling their eyes like you would say dumb it down. No, dumb it down. Everything had to be dumbed down. Cell phones had to be dumbed down. The iPhone, it's so user friendly, a 3-year-old could use it. So I mean, I think Jack is right in that aspect, and Craig is right in the long and on the long game aspect. And I'm just, that's all I have to say about it. There needs to be some and maybe like Jack said, some investment in marketing. I mean, every like not a maybe not a ton, but if that takes away from developing the long-term strategy, but some marketing, there's none. And that is a problem. So I mean, really just dumb it down like no one ever has before.
I'll just
Don't have Dr. Craig do it. He can't do it. He had David, he probably had David Kleiman edit the white paper. And that's why the white paper is so eloquent and the sentences are so clearly formed. And you could see that's not Dr. Craig's writing. And I mean, he said, yeah, I asked him for help rescripting it. But this is you got to see the brilliance in simplicity. And I'm just telling you guys this because, you know, I believe in the chain, and I kind of just tracked, you know, followed the breadcrumbs here. And that's just my advice. I have no skin in the game, but nobody gives a damn about crypto.
I'll just say, Kate, from someone that, you know, my sole focus was marketing this entire ecosystem and all that it had to offer to entrepreneurs. The space was not ready for the marketing I was doing. And I kept running into, you know, the fact that we're marketing for budding platforms that just haven't found their legs yet, or, you know, don't have the right base layer protocols to you know, sustain them long term. So that's literally where we're at right now, is that building phase of getting all that stuff built and the interoperability so that future platforms don't run into these walls again. So you're here in this interim part where it's literally the tech people have to build the infrastructure in order for us to do the marketing that you and I could team up and do that kind of stuff. So it's like a work in progress. This is going to take a while. If Siggy, you know, if
Yeah,
you can come up and
let me
explain how intense it is to like build the backbone of this stuff, like that's why we're in this lull
Glenn,
of
you should join.
not being ready to really hit the ground with the marketing.
Yeah,
That's just
Yeah, I
my
mean,
talk of
okay, hold on.
mention
I get that. I get
here.
that. But no one's going to adopt crypto
Well,
until
here
it's super user
one of the
friendly.
things
I
that
mean, that's it.
is a breakthrough that is just recently happened, Kate, that it really was super hard for me to understand this. And so, but I might be able to simplify it for people to kind of get their head around. And what happens is that
Hi
when
guys.
people do, they want to use the wallet. Oh, there he is. Siggy is up here.
hey,
So,
Yeah.
Siggy.
Hi guys. How you doing?
Thanks
buddy.
for coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
maybe
Yes.
if you could explain to Kate where we're
well,
at with you
let
know,
me let
everything
me
I mentioned.
hold on. Let me jump in first, but really quick. So what I
Okay.
was gonna mention was that, you know, we have this massive tidal wave of people that want to start, they want to start building and want to start using the system, and they want to market, and everybody's like, what do we do? And so now that we have this brand new wallet infrastructure, like with BRC 100, it's brand new. Like why didn't we have marketing last week or a month ago? Well, we didn't have a wallet infrastructure, or at least no one knew about it. And even now, people are just learning about it. Like, yeah, I'm like telling you about it. You're like, what's a wallet? What is that? You know? And so there's like this communication breakdown with the marketing people and the sales people, and then the engineers with like, well, what do we do? And then they want to build a wallet, but then they build it all wrong and it doesn't work and it doesn't communicate with anything else. So, anyways, like this is where we're at right now, where we finally had this big breakthrough with Babbage's wallet, you know, the BRC 100 standard. And so now Teranode's out and the wallet infrastructure is built. So it is a perfect synergy. It is happening right now. Yes. So I'll go to you, Siggy, and talk about what ideas you have as well. Would love to hear. Glad to hear you up here.
Thanks guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. I'm sitting outside in the cold, so you might hear some church bells and cowbells around me as well. No, I love this energy. I love everything I've heard so far, actually, even if we disagree on some things, but I think that's very healthy. We've been working on the infrastructure part, and just one thing I want to say. I agree with Jack, and I also agree with Craig. And that sounds a bit weird, but my idea is we don't know where this is going to go. We don't know what's going to be successful, so we have to try lots of things, and we have to disagree and just do it. And I know there's a lot of criticism of the BSVA, and that's all very fair. But we do have a bunch of very passionate people that have been in here a very, very long time. I've been building on Bitcoin since 2019, working with the guys in Tonic Power and doing all kinds of stuff for years. Working on the Teranode now. Teranode is coming, guys. It is working. It is coming. We're not doing a million transactions a second. Just want to correct that. That is not correct. We're doing 4 million database transactions, but a million transactions a second. That is coming. But next to that, like Gavin said, the BRC 100 wallet standards is extremely important. And the reason behind that, why we're doing all this stuff, is exactly some of the criticism that's been talked about. is that we don't have this basic infrastructure. That's the only thing that we're trying to do. We're trying to build the basic infrastructure. Everybody can build applications easier. You guys have to come up with ideas. You have to become makers. You have to build stuff. Don't expect that from Craig. Don't expect that from the BSVA. Don't expect that from our, more the corporate angle. But what we are going to do is we're going to give you all the tools and make it as easy as possible to build stuff. And please believe me when I'm saying we have very passionate people that love this stuff, that would love to enable Jack to do his stuff, enable Craig to do his stuff, enable everybody to do whatever they want to do. And we've had some interns over the last couple of months working with our stuff. They were able to hook this up to some AIs, do some vibe coding, get applications that are completely tied into the old BRC 100 wallet infrastructure in days. In a week, we build a mobile application that's connected to a backend that does tokenization and all kinds of stuff. And this is what we're going to be talking about more in the coming months and showing people how to do this. But you shouldn't be afraid. We have to experiment, try things out, and the thing that we're trying to do, we're trying to take all the hard stuff away. So wallet stuff, UTXO management, fees, all that crap. That's what we're doing. You guys need to build apps. And we have to try all of it. Let Jack try his stuff, let Craig Mehl stuff. Everybody just needs to start making and experimenting. That's my 2 cents for tonight.
Totally
Yeah, right on.
agree. We need that coherence in a space though for, once that stuff is built, then people that are in the marketing expert, vertical, they take it and run with it. So it'll just be, Kate eventually creating those partnerships with specific platforms that speak to you that you want to share. Hopefully in the future, a lot of these platforms that are built will still have, the built-in referral systems and things like that that really incentivize people to
Yeah.
help these things grow. So it's a
Let me-
really cool thing if you start to play with some of these things that have shut down before you got here, like Tonic Pow and
All right, let me jump in.
Twitch. But
let me jump in. So let me go to the speakers. We got Ray. You're up on stage. Did you want to jump in, Ray?
What's
Go ahead.
up?
Hi. How are you?
Hey, I wanted to say it was really hard for developers to work on BSD probably, 2 to 3 years ago. And just this year, maybe a little bit last year, it's just way easy. Especially with, like trying to make like a wallet through one of the libraries. I'm trying to think of the name of one of the developers that created the Python one. He has a Japanese name, Ken something.
Ken Sato.
Yeah, so he did a great job making the BSV SDK for also for Python, and that helped out a lot. And that was like just a year. And so before that, like I had to kind of like put stuff together, like parts of old money button libraries, and so like it's going forward really fast. I think we're going to see a lot of changes.
Are you using BRC 100?
Not yet, but I need to. That's like the next thing for me to read about.
Yeah, having a standardized protocol.
Yeah.
So what did you want to add, Ray, or what did you want to comment on? We'd love to hear from you.
Sorry. That was it. I was just going to say this area is growing. We just really needed easy libraries to understand, and those are out there now.
Ah, nice. Where can people? How can that be improved on, or where can people go to?
Most of it's through like the BSV associations, GitHub. So you can find everything through there. They have a lot of stuff for like TypeScript. I mainly work in Python though, but they also have a bunch of stuff for that too, which is great.
Nice.
But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that, just to let everybody know that it's there's a lot of growth here.
Massive growth opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay, Bose, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to something that Siggy said about experimenting. And like, I didn't mean to say that like it's not cool to experiment. Of course, it's cool to experiment, and of course, tokens are a big part of that. I guess the point I was trying to make to Craig Mason was just like, in terms of like motivation, like, and I'm not accusing Craig of this, but what I'm trying to say is that like, if you're motivated by that kind of like need for quick riches, then like I would suggest that like you're not going to be a really effective builder, and you have to have, maybe it's like gears in a car. You have you have different gears for going uphill or going on a straight. Maybe you need a mixture of all three so that you can go the distance, right? So like building for the long term. You also need a way to go to market and to create value quickly. And you also need those middle gears as well. And if you can kind of balance all three of those, the short, medium, and long, then I think maybe that's the way to approach this. Like it's a pretty tall order, but I think we've had six
Yeah,
years now of trying different things, and we've seen what's happened to the kind of flash in the pan
right.
attempts and the little ones, and we've also seen actually the same. And by the way, everybody in BSV has experienced this. Everybody's been cut off at the knees. It doesn't matter what they've tried. So it is kind of like, you need to have a, a broad spectrum of experience, maybe a little bit of hindsight as well.
Yeah, I was going to have Jack respond. I saw him up here, but then he looks like he dropped down. But one of the things that he's talking about is the degens, and I think that a lot of people here just rule out the degens, and like that's not not the right attitude. We have to also think like, well, we're all degens once. We all have a little bit of degen in us. Maybe we all had that moment of like, oh, I want to get rich quick. I want to do that. I get it. Like, yeah, we've all been there. So I don't want to judge people for where they're at, wherever they're starting at, and we want to try to embrace them and bring them in. So and how we can all work together on this. So degenomics. Okay, who has their hand up? Shurish, go ahead,
What's
buddy.
up, everybody?
How you doing? Introduce yourself.
I'm doing well. I wanted to take the opportunity to ask Siggy because I've been out of the loop a little bit with the tech stack developments. I just wanted to ask what the most current and up-to-date stack for web development would be, like specifically with like RPC and pushing transactions.
I think Gavin has mentioned that a couple of times. So the BRC 100 wallet standard, it's a bit of a cryptic name, but it's coming out of Ty Everett's coffers. So he came up with that idea, wrote a lot of BRCs. That one was it's very extensive, and we've actually been spending now 2.5 years building out the libraries that are needed for that. So I would encourage anybody to build on top of that. There's a website that Darren Degan put up called fast.brc.dev. So it's basically showing you how to start with integrating into a wallet. And it's really 10 lines of code and you can get going. And like I said earlier, we have interns working on this stack, finding bugs, helping us, smooth everything out, but also just building apps really, really quickly. And I think the main reason we did that, besides having to do all the infrastructure stuff, the SV node and Teranode and everything that we're doing, but also this middle layer that takes care of all the hard crypto stuff, the UTXO management, the creating of transactions, but also getting them on chain. And it's literally 10 lines of code, and you can get going. And all that other stuff is handled for you in the background. Go to fast.brc.dev and try it out. Just start doing something. We are very
Okay.
committed, and we're going to be funded for some time to do that. If there's any problems, any things you want to discuss, reach out to us and have us help us. We have people that are ready to help, and that is what we are here for. We're here for the ecosystem. From the people that want to do some degen stuff with NFTs or whatever they want to do, up to we're talking to very, very big companies and NGOs and things like that as well. They want to do this. We're here for everybody. We're going to build the basic infrastructure, so make it super easy for you guys to build something. that is going to be compatible. So you're not going to get rug pulled. None of this stuff is going away anymore. It's not like money button that's going to get turned off. BRC 100 is not going to be turned off ever.
That's
So
beautiful.
please join us there. And there's the Discord channels that we have. We also have a developer Slack you can join. We got the guys that are building, like David Case, and the guys from Gorilla Pool are also hooked into us, and we're all building together. So let us do the hard stuff, so you can actually focus on the applications and the fun stuff that are going to get people on BSV. We're not going to be able to do that. That is not our remit to do that. But let us help you do that.
Yeah.
Great.
That's
And is the BSV 21 token standard still the one that's most used?
I think so, yes. So the ones that Ord guys are using that, and M&E is using that. We're getting other companies hooked up to that as well, and we're building, first citizen support for that in all the libraries as well. So absolutely, we're going to be taking some steps further and writing that up as an official standard. So it'll be easier for corporates and enterprises also to do it, but it'll also be used for everybody that's also do it. So BSV 21, absolutely do it. Yes.
okay. Let's go over to you,
Great.
Jack. You
Thank
got
you.
your hand up, buddy. Thanks for jumping back in. I wanted to hear back from you. Jack Liu. Is he on stage, Casey? Am I
Yes.
okay? We'll come
He
back
just
to
may
him.
be available at the moment.
Kate,
Yeah.
are you Kate? Are you
Yeah, no,
go
I
ahead.
mean, it's like whether it's a it's like, well, what do you know? I don't know anything. All I know is that no one wants to touch this. Like, outside of developers, outside of people who trade and invest in crypto, no one wants to touch it. When someone makes something user friendly, that's the blockchain that the public adopts. And if BSV is the chain for the 99%, then that's what needs to happen. If I have no idea. Everyone has probably their own development project, but I think what from my novice standpoint, I'll just say I agree with Jack when it comes to build something, maybe compilate together to build something that creates a dopamine hit so hard that it's unavoidable for the public. And I mean, that's really, I think, the strategy. What do I know? I don't know. I'm just gonna leave now.
You're good. We love hearing it. All right, over to you, Jack. I'm not hearing you, buddy. If you want to try, Casey, do you hear him?
No, but I just would love to, maybe ask Siggy if you have any information on, some of the bigger people that are touching this blockchain right now and playing with it and experimenting with the stack that you guys have built. Maybe, we're still waiting on that type of a thing to happen before the 99% can really cruise around with this technology. So do you have any insights on that from your perspective?
Well, with the new BRC 100 wallet standard and all the backend libraries, we're kind of hooking up a whole ecosystem. We're working with I think Record IoT has now moved over. We're working with Tokenizing to move over. We're in discussions with the money guys to move over, and we're just launching this week. We're going to launch a new app together with an NGO in the Netherlands that is doing a lot of stuff for regenerative farming, to create a massive community there of some of the leading voices in the regenerative farming ecosystem to create a massive ecosystem where we're going to have a single sign-on based on BSV with certificates, all the good stuff that's coming out of the BRC wallet development. And hooking up lots of sites there where people can interact, and they'll have a profile that moves across websites. But also, we're going to start building in micropayments there. And we're going to have stable coins. We're going to get local to local buying. So that's a very exciting project. It's going to be launched in Abu Dhabi next week. And besides that, we're just talking to a lot of companies. It's in early stages that they're working
So,
on. The story works. They know, and we're also talking. There's also in Argentina. There's a very interesting initiative where we're working with some people that worked on the ID standard called Quark ID for the city of Buenos Aires. They're doing a new startup now, hooking them into BSV, and these guys have been in the crypto space for a long time, and they built a solution. They built actually the whole Quark ID system on ZK Sync, and we're almost giving up until they talked to us, and we told them what we can do, how we can do it. They dove into it, and now they're building everything on BSV. That's going to be launched next year as well. Things are
nice.
moving. From our perspective, everything is positive. Everything is moving in the right direction.
So I have two more questions on that note. This at local BSV dot or BSV SAAS they look like they've got a really cool merchant POS system that
No.
they've launched, and all kinds of like the merchant map and stuff. I really like the regenerative agriculture angle
Let's
because that is the peer-to-peer network in the real world, and they would absolutely love this type of stuff. And then also my other question was Garrett Krauss, with the tokenization of gold. Have you connected with him recently to just reconnect and
I'm not
provide some
aware.
solutions?
I'm not aware if we're in contact with him, but if we would love to, we'd love to help him
Well,
launch that very quickly.
sounds
he's
good.
here. Garrett,
Let me
if
go
you want
to
to
hold
hop
on,
up,
Casey. Let me go to Jack. I want to go over to Jack.
sure.
He's been waiting. So go ahead, Jack. You're up, buddy. You keep unmuting, but then your mic is maybe off or something, and your hand is up. I don't know why. Try it again. Nope. All right. Yeah, I don't see anything there from you. So, Jack, for some reason, you're coming through silent. So, okay, you dropped down. All right. So, yeah, back to you. Anybody else want to jump in? Go ahead. I wanted to open it up. So,
Be
but yeah, before we go into new speakers, Casey, go ahead. But let's,
sure.
what did you have?
I just was gonna welcome Be Love and BU up if you wanted
Oh,
to
dude,
chime
yeah, we
in.
do have we have Matt. Good to see you, Matt. How you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm doing good. Not really sure what to add. If you have any questions, I can comment on my experience in terms of application ideas, finding funding, the struggles I've had, or just where the market's at, because it's not looking good, to be honest.
What's
Yeah, I
happening
know
with
you're
the
really
hodl
good at
cult right
TA.
now? I mean, the hodl cult, it looks like they're falling apart. I mean, it doesn't look good for them. So I'm just wondering what you thought about, how things going in the market.
Yeah, well, I can keep it short and simple. In 4 hours, we're going to have a weekly close. So every Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, weekly close. And every time BTC closes 2 weekly candles below the 50-week moving average, it confirms a bear market. Not once. I mean, you'll get a bounce, but it gets sold into and it's over for at least a year of pain. So, it's something to consider in building and development. And if, you're trying to just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks on BSV and try to do a viral idea, the question really comes down to funding. Like who can afford to do stuff like that? And it's pretty clear that the BSVA can do that because they're funded. Like, the people that are doing things from my lens, they have funding, whether that's from themselves personally and they're bootstrapping, or I don't know where it comes from. And that's been my struggle because when you've got a big idea, not something to throw at the wall and see if it sticks. Like, to do it right, people need to be paid well. And so, I'm just seeing where these markets are going, and I think expectations about what can be built and innovation has to be kind of realistic. And in my experience, it does seem like the last 3 years since I kind of awakened to Bitcoin at Cambrian SV, it's the tech doesn't seem like it's been ready. Every potential investor I've talked to would not touch it. And that has nothing to do with me. Like I pitched it, I sold it, I broke down the research, the case studies. My personal experience wasn't good enough, so it's very high risk to be building and investing in BSV. And it's pretty clear that there's a few players that can afford to take that risk. It doesn't change how big the opportunity is, but You know, I guess my biggest pain point is like, where do you get funding for a good idea? Who can you even go to for this technology? That's like my big question that I think we're all kind of struggling with here, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of funding being thrown around in other ecosystems like water.
One
So
funding idea that I have is so we got this hackathon coming up in January, and I'm working on the dates. I mean, I know it's an idea. So like, there's supposed to be a hackathon with the BRC 100 standard, and it was so freaking amazing last time. You know, like the one in Oregon had these amazing, results. These small world network people that had these incredible businesses. I mean, one of them was the clock chain. This guy, just a great little simple login. You log in and you log all your hours with your employer on blockchain, and it's called clock chain. It's a simple idea. He just needed a little bit of funding. He won some money, and he's building it out. He's really committed to the business. I mean, that's what we're going to do in January. And if we can put it together to have like an event at, let's say, the like I did with the Fairmont in San Francisco, where it was a really hotel package where everybody comes in and they get like a cheap rate on a hotel and stays at the same place, and then we have the conference at the same event. That's really what I believe we need to have happen. I'm trying to lobby for that. So, and then we can all go there, and then I can invite like VCs at the event, because VCs will go if we have a central location with a hotel where it's really easy, really convenient, and they're not going off to some crazy place. They just go to the hotel, down to the conference room, and everybody's together. Everybody spends the whole weekend together, and then we all brainstorm and vote and winners. And I mean, that's how I see an easy way to make this happen. We have a centralized event, not spread out. Not everybody's at 15 different hotels. It makes it work so well, like we did. Remember in Fairmont, you were there, Matt, how amazing it was, right? Everybody spent the whole weekend together. We're up all night. Some of us up late at night, all talking all night long in those places. It was amazing, dude. Like, and we really like put our brains together. So we got to do that in January. That's what I'm seeing.
I totally agree, and great idea. Lest we not forget though that the few challenges that came up during that Fairmont event, the S-Script Hackathon, there was a lot of division and not a whole lot of teamwork and open communication. There were a handful of people that just held the floor and the microphone the whole time. And people like myself couldn't always get a word in, even though I was a speaker at that event. So like an idea, like a potential solution is like, I mean, I think it's pretty clear who the players are in this network, in this community that have great ideas, have shown some proof of work to date. Like maybe going into the next hackathon like that, there is, everyone's allowed to submit their idea, at least a basic form, right? Because you don't want to give away the farm, but and the community can kind of vote on who's going to compete. So whoever's showing up there knows like who's the ideas that are already, being worked on. And then if anyone wants to randomly show up that has great skills and ideas, they can contribute to those ideas instead of just kind of, saying, hey, whoever wants to show up, show us what you got. I mean, that's going to happen anyway if something great comes up. But I think going into it with a plan and like having ideas kind of voted on or something beforehand would create this this focus that was really missing from the last event.
yeah, I definitely enjoyed being there at the event. And Mitch, I know you were a
We
winner.
got Mitch.
Did you? Yeah,
Oh,
welcome
yeah.
to the stage if you want to say hi.
Dude, Mitch.
Yeah. Hey everyone. I can chime in and give my 2 cents. I've bootstrapped my team from the last 2 Babbage hackathons. Obviously my best friend Ishan was the winner with the Get Paid app. Now that, unfortunately, the infrastructure isn't there with S-Script and the new stack with BRC 100 to get that working. S-Script is just a little too heavy. We're getting a lot of errors. It's been a nightmare to say the least, but I think BSVA is working on that, so that's good. What I can say is that what we've done now with BRC 100 is now it's not about the ideas. The ideas are a dime a dozen, right? And we can iterate on those so fast because the bar has been lowered for developers infinitely. It is so fucking easy to build on this stuff right now. It is so easy. I've spun up 3 apps, 4 companies in the last month with 2 guys, and I'm just designing logos. There's no capital issues. Trust me, no fucking capital issue. There's plenty of capital looking at this stuff because it works, guys. It works. There is it straight up, and it will continue to work. We have a scalable solution, and we have a vendor neutral system that allows us to build the degen apps and go build the institutional boomer apps on the same fucking infrastructure. You only need to learn it one time. So it's
Mitch,
like,
Mitch, can you speak a little bit to the developers who maybe are hesitant and they haven't like started even messing with BRC 100? Maybe they don't understand like the significance of it yet, and they seem to be still using older systems. Can you talk a little bit more about it to them?
I mean, the significance of it is that we're all working on the same project now, and it's called Bitcoin, and it is vendor neutral, and anyone can spin up their own local storage. Anyone can spin up their own cloud service provider. All of the data types are interoperable between apps, between wallets. Now we're all working for Bitcoin, and the ideas that come out of that are going to just be accelerated because now we don't have to keep re-engineering the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. There's no more changing the token protocol. That's not even a thing anymore. A UTXO is the token. It's defined as the token. There's no such thing as a token protocol. UTXOs are tokens. We don't have to keep re-engineering this stuff. We built systems now. Ty has built this system, and Siggy and all these guys have built a system that is completely and utterly decentralized. And you can take it and stand on the shoulders of giants, okay? Giants, enormous minds that have given you the tools to take a technology that is beyond it's beyond the comprehension of 99.9% of humans, and we can code up apps that work and are valuable in weeks if not days, with AI tools. I mean, the opportunity here, there is no risk to you in going after this. There is no risk. It costs you nothing to test this stuff because it will never change, and you can continue to use it. It will scale as Teranode comes out. You don't have to re-architect your apps. That's the best part. You go build an app that has 2 users. Okay. All of a sudden you move it to 10K. You don't have to change the way your app is architected. That is so massive. Most of the capital required in doing these tech applications is re-architecting your shit as you go along because you get more users and your systems break. But now you don't have to worry about that. Everything scales modularly. You have the ability to do, I mean, incredible things, and it's all at your fingertips. The bar has never been lower, and the tools have never been better. It's really an absolute, I mean, it is a beautiful thing from my
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe Siggy, how is it? So it seems like what we've got now is like the front end, the developer side from the wallet infrastructure with BRC 100 is now set. And even now the back end, which is the refinery, the oil refinery, and you guys way down, have now embraced the downstream narrative, which I think we've been waiting for the last, I don't know, not waiting. This is just a big breakthrough that I've ever seen. I mean, how are you guys able to can you talk a little bit more about like the this like the significance of this and how it can be embraced?
Well, I cannot agree more with last speaker. I mean, this stuff is easier than ever, and we're still investing in making it easier and faster and better. And like I said, there's some very smart people working on all this stuff, and and the one singular goal is to create something that's open for everybody to use, like you said, from degens up to corporates, and the sky's the limit. And exactly like you said, if your app explodes and you get 1 million users, that's built in. You fire up a couple of more machines, it scales. Like I said, let us do the hard stuff. You try to build the applications on top, and it's never been easier. It literally it is true. It takes days. If it's more complex, maybe weeks to build something. And most of it can be built with AI. We've got NPCs that know our libraries. You got Claude Code that understands all this stuff. It's never been easier. Just go do it. And if you run into trouble, you're having some issues, reach out to us, and we'd love to help.
Yeah. Amazing, dude, badass. Do you understand? Hey, Craig Mason, are you starting to understand the significance about like what this infrastructure is with the BRC 100 yet? I know
Yeah, man, that's so cool. I think it was Garrett talking. That should be a clip like explaining how cool it is now that nothing's going to change. It's all modular. You can scale it up and code things up quickly. Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, I'm starting to get it. I'm like obviously a noob at these things, but I get that, having seen all the applications come and go and the struggles with different protocols and, money button goes away and Twitch has trouble because the blockchain, handling all the transactions of the blockchain. It's really cool to see that it's going to be different now and that you can just spin up an app quickly. And, I'm a noob, obviously, but I've messed around with vibe coding a little bit. It's really cool you can do that now, it seems like. But yeah, you should clip that one. I think it was Garrett talking.
Was that
just explaining that? That's
was
cool.
Are you referring to Mitch or are you referring to Siggy? I think it was Mitch.
Oh, maybe it was Mitch. I don't know. I got a bug
binary,
on my
binary, right?
Yeah,
binary.
I'm Mitch.
Oh, sorry, Mitch. It was my X app is not showing who's speaking. So,
Mitch
but yeah,
is
binary then.
killing it.
Yeah,
Dude.
thanks,
Back
Mitch.
to you, Mitch. I want to go back to you, please.
Yeah. So from my perspective, listen. Okay, I dropped out of college because I failed my Comp Sci 101 test. All right, they asked me to convert binary to hexadecimal in my head, and I fucking walked out of the test because I understood that that was a waste of my fucking time. I don't want to waste any of your time here. Okay, the tools have never been easier. You've got calculators in your pockets that are more capable than the computers that sent us to space. You've got AIs that can write code in any language, and you've got tool sets that are fucking massive, huge. The SDK, the TypeScript SDK is a literal work of art. It is unbelievable. It is so complex and so well put together. The Go SDK, the same way. All of the overlay services are perfectly put together so that you don't have to know any of the stuff. I'm working on this with a ragtag team, 3 guys. We've got one business partner, and he's rounding up deals like nothing. It's easy because all we have to do is tell them what we're doing and how it works. And as long as we actually provide value, and we can, you're never going to run into these problems that you used to have where it's like, oh, the tech's not. No, the tech is there. It's a masterpiece that we have at our fingertips.
Sorry, I gotta jump on a jet, but the tech is not there. You have not solved battery-genesis, minor validated tokens. You have not solved the token protocol. Like whatever you guys are imagining, like is not gonna happen. So, and then in 2 years, you're gonna hear someone come up with a new word, call some other node, and then you're gonna have a new team work on that. So that's just what's gonna happen. It's very clear. Okay, I gotta go.
What? No.
Back to
What
Genesis
ideas
is
do
not
you?
real.
Hold on. What ideas do you have, Jack? I mean, I'm open to hearing and what they are. So.
He has no ideas. That's why he bounced. Listen, he has never read BRC 100. He has no fucking clue what he's talking about. If he had any clue, if he ever looked into the mind of Ty Everett, he would. I mean, like, are you kidding? Are you kidding?
Right.
There's no back to Genesis problem.
I once presented Ty to Jack years ago, and he just called me a boomer and told me to get lost, and was very rude.
A boomer?
Yeah, and he was like, what Ty was doing was just amazing, and I presented it to him, and he was like, fuck off.
Well, so, I mean, in Jack's defense, we want to create unity. We don't want to create division. So, and I don't want to support this space to attack anybody or to single people out. So, in Jack's defense,
no, I totally agree with what you're saying, Gavin. Like, I want to create unity too, but I was on a space one time, and I let a BTC person up to talk about why I think BTC is better than BSV, and someone told me, I think it was Raphael Laverde, was like, dude, stop talking to these people. They don't get it. They don't provide any value. We're wasting our time talking to them. And I kind of feel like with Jack, and I'm not trying to censor anybody, but you can see from having him come on here and talk for I don't know how long he talked. He has plenty of time to talk as long as he's the only one talking. And, talks about we have to get to the degens and all these things endlessly. But then when someone challenges him, he's got to go all of a sudden. So it's like, I don't really find him compelling to listen to anymore. It's not to say I don't want to censor him, or I'm saying I don't want to censor him. I do want to create a community where we can disagree with each other, certainly. But it's like, I feel like it's kind of a waste of time to talk to him at this point. So I'm just throwing it out there. But I do want to, create unity. But I see whoever, and I can't tell who's talking sometimes.
I see your point.
Yeah,
because
that's my
every
point.
time that we have Laser Eye comes in and he screams at me at the top of his lungs, and all he tells me is that Greg is a fraud. Greg is a fraud over and over. And I agree, dude. I don't want to hear about it anymore. So there is a point where, but no, I think Jack means well. I think he, at the same time. So we want to try to, I think he really does mean well, and his heart's in the right place. So. Okay, but who else do we have? Mr. Ben, go ahead. You're up on stage.
It was actually what I think what's going on at the moment is, again, it's just absolutely fascinating. I'm very excited. I think this is just amazing what's going on, especially with Teranode. And then this week, the push for IPv6, which I'd actually like to ask Siggy about.
What's the push with that?
There was announcement by the SPv6 forum. Sorry, I've forgotten the chap's name, the head of it.
Latif Ladiv.
Yeah, that's it. And he put a notice out the other day, or a letter out to the various countries, and about trying to do the big push for IPv6. So you have that coming, and that works. And Teranode is all lined up for that. And then you just got all the regulatory things coming through regarding the digital assets, and the Clarity Act. You've got the British Parliament putting through this week, and I've been obviously searching into the corporate side, and it's huge. And what Tokenizing, I don't know, I keep bringing it up, but what they're doing, what money's doing with, but it's all happening. The plumbing's been laid. And so you got that side of it all. And then everything that's the tools that have been made as well, it's just all lining up perfectly. And I think this is just the best time to be in BSV, and very, very exciting, really exciting. And you've had some great interviews with Craig this week, with Neil. And I think we're in a very, very, very good space.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing a space with Craig, right? Getting him on a space like this and asking him to come in, because I think it'd be cool to do that. And
maybe he's here.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We could do like a Q&A or whatever. And I was gonna do that so we could. I wouldn't do too crazy, but this is pretty good right now. Like we haven't. I mean, usually these spaces can go absolutely berserk if they're just not managed well. But it seems to be pretty good where they're not. This isn't too hectic, right? I mean, there's a little bit of disagreement, but that's healthy. So it's healthy to have some disagreement, But yeah, Mitch, man, you really fire me up, dude. I appreciate you sharing your view here on the standard, because it is refreshing. You actually have gone deep on understanding the entire BRC 100 narrative that most people haven't.
It's the new requirement. That is the base level requirement for each of us, is to understand. You don't need to know anything about Teranode. You don't. And I mean, I may end up one day running a Teranode, but do I need to know how that's architected? No. The only thing I need to know is what the data types are and how to use them in an app, and then start building user interfaces and start educating people on how this stuff works. And so that's, like I said, it's the bare minimum, and it didn't happen overnight, right? You go look at BRC1, it's the precursor to all this stuff. It's the standard substrate. Then BRC2 is the encryption. Then BRC3 is signing, and it's built all the way over time into what it is now. And if you just look back, You look back at the history of how all this has evolved, and you look at the design choices that have been made in BRC 100, and why it's so critical that we adopt and we move fast in that direction. We're all going to be able to unify, and we're all going to be able to stop wasting time, guys. It's all about not wasting any more time. There's no reason to re-architect this stuff, and there's no reason to get all worked up about, oh no, we didn't solve back to Genesis problem. Well, solve it with a business case. How many times do you need to go back to Genesis? Never? Question mark? I don't know. Like, I haven't found a use case where I need to go back to Genesis, not with overlays, not with specific token protocols. None of this is like crazy. We're not building anything that's like unbelievably hard. It's all just primitives, and the primitives stacked up, and if you can understand those and understand why we use those, then you can really capture whatever industry you walk into. That's my opinion, and that's exactly what I'm doing. That is my MO. I'm walking into the biggest industries I can find, and I'm explaining to them exactly how this works because I've studied it from each individual building block, and I can tell them why it's better, and I can tell them exactly how to build it, and you can get a
That's
lot done. You can get a
that's
lot done.
definitely one of the reasons I wanted you and Garrett to connect. I think he's on the forefront of tokenizing real world assets, and it'd be a good conversation, I'm sure, for you two to have. Garrett, if you want to chime in about what you've been working on.
Hello, how are you guys?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. What have I been working on, Casey? I've been mining gold in Africa. How's that for real world assets?
Definitely something I wish I could be doing right now.
Exactly. At $4,100 an ounce, it's very profitable. But I still have the infrastructure ready to go to tokenize gold. I've been working on this, but I agree the protocols of the past of BSV have been terrible. Tokenized was terrible. All these protocols, they just weren't ready. So I'm interested if anybody wants to reach out to me. I do talk to Ty every once in a while, so I've been following what he's been doing. Um, I'd love to learn more about all these BRC 100, these protocols, because I've got golden vaults and I can put it on the blockchain like tomorrow.
Yeah, hit me up.
I can't seem to. I just texted you. Binary. What's your name, Mitch?
My name is Mitch. Yeah.
And Ziggy. I tried to DM you, but your DMs are off. So if you can DM me, I'd like to talk to you and Craig. I've been away from the community for a couple of years, but I've been following everything that's been going on. I haven't been involved in blockchain. I've been very busy with actually running a real world company. But I do love it. It's a passion. It's something very cool. And I think in today's world, gold on top of BSV is still uh, probably the right solution for real money um, because it's universal. BSV is good rails, probably the fastest rails. The protocols have been bad, but gold is real. I have been working with a guy from Orange. What's it? The exchange off ramps and on ramps. Orange. What's his name? You guys going? The guy
Orange
in
Gateway.
Iceland.
Gateway.
What?
Orange Gateway.
Orange Gateway. That's it. He's a cool guy. I've flown up to Iceland. I met him. Very nice guy. Very capable. So there are some things starting to happen. So if anybody wants to talk to me about real world assets, I have real world assets to put on chain. I've been enthusiastic about BSV since 2023. Had some run ins with some of the locals in their token protocols, but I can put stuff on chain, commodities, gold, mining assets, energy assets that my group has. So please hit me up. And I love listening to all you guys, all the new enthusiasm. There's Jack again causing trouble, but him and I have had our run-ins. But I agree, he doesn't really say much. If you confront him, he gets pissed and leaves. But he does have a genuine he has a genuine enthusiasm for BSV, but he's also very divisive. So he is what he is. You're not going to change Jack Liu, but I welcome anybody else to DM me. My DMs are open, and if you need to get a hold of me on WhatsApp, just ping Casey. She'll give you my WhatsApp number, and we can talk direct. Thank you. I enjoy listening to you.
Right on. Thanks, Garrett. That's really exciting, man. I really appreciate having you up today and sharing your ideas. So, yeah, if anybody has anything they want to talk to Garrett about, sounds like you can reach him on his DMs right there regarding tokenizing assets. That would be.
Yeah, I think real world assets is the future, as everybody's been saying. And if BSV is the rails with Teranode and everything, I know nobody else is doing it. I know Tokenizing is doing some stuff in commodities and derivatives, but just putting real world assets on chain on BSV with I know all these guys doing it on Ethereum. I know all these guys. I was one of the first people to put a real world asset on Ethereum in 2017. The crap doesn't work. It's slow. It's expensive. There's nobody coming to buy them right now, but it is a future, and I think it's a place where BSV can really get a stronghold. But the token protocols, the asset protocols, have not been there with BSV. But it seems like they're getting there. They're getting there slowly. But if they're
Yeah, the big
sound and fast and cheap, real world assets can thrive on BSV.
Yeah, the big breakthrough, Garrett, and that's what Mitch is talking about, is that he's finally explained it to me and I understand it now. And that's the having a standardized vendor neutral wallet protocol. That was the
Correct.
problem that we were having before, is that everybody would do a wallet, the wallet would go out of business, the wallet would change, the founders would leave, they would, whatever, something would happen, and then everything falls apart. So and once you don't have the wallet, you can't operate. So
Is that the Babbage wallet? Is that
yeah,
Ty's
that's BRC
project?
100. That's what Babbage has done. Yeah, the Babbage
I was
wallet
talking to Ty
protocol.
2 years ago when he was developing this whole
Yeah,
concept BRC 100, and I downloaded his MetaNet, and I'm like, this is all cool, but it's not ready for anything. And
yeah.
and I've been watching slowly been watching the BSV ecosystem develop, and I'm in no hurry. I don't really care about assets on chain. I don't really care about anything right now except for mining gold and producing gold more and more and trading gold, physical gold in Africa, exporting it to Dubai is what really makes money. But I do think that the next push, and I've been saying this for 2 years here on these chats, is if we can get these assets onto BSV and show, like some people have said, actually show that real world assets can be on BSV and create a marketplace. Um, but it's just been too hard because the developers have no clue what real world assets are. They have no clue about regulations in the past. These past token protocols have not met the standards. So if
Right.
there are some people out there, and Ty, I'll hit them up. But
Yeah, I would definitely talk
if
to Binary Mitch, and it sounds like you've got met
yeah,
him now. He would be the one to talk to, because he's kind of the best bridge right now between the developers, the wallet protocol, and then the real world business people. He is he's like leading the way. He's the head of the pack right now on all that. I mean, Mitch, you're still
yeah, and I'm not a tech person. I'm a real world business
No,
person.
and
With
tech people and business people need the bridge between a guy like Mitch, who's a business guy, and the
yeah,
tech people. Because a regular person talks to Babbage, we don't understand what the heck they're doing, and it's too
oh
confusing.
yeah,
So
nicest guy in the world,
great
nicest
guy,
guy in the world,
yeah,
but way above my pay grade.
way above exactly. So that's when Mitch comes in and makes sense of the whole thing. So Mitch, did you want to just give your elevator pitch on that? If you yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I just talked to my developers. It's like we could have that done tonight. It's
Yeah,
like none of this. It's
Well, my
There's
infrastructure is StoneX. I have an API right into StoneX, Fortune 50 company in the world. My vaults are Brinks. Gold can be bought. APIs can be accessed, and we can have an app up, and people can buy gold, platinum, silver, palladium on StoneX. And here's the cool thing about StoneX, which everybody with their stable
Yeah.
coins,
Let me.
they require an exchange for liquidity. Okay, that's the biggest thing with gold. Well, how are you going to get out of your token? Well, with StoneX, they're one of the largest market makers of gold in the world. We do not need an exchange. We do not need our token to trade on an exchange. It's not about moving the token to an exchange to have Binance or somebody give you liquidity. We can cash the token out on StoneX in 1 second just by using
Nice.
the API,
All right.
and that's the difference. We have instant liquidity for the metals in and out into 6 different currencies in the world.
Thank you, Garrett. I'll
Thank you.
put that to you, let you guys connect and finish that conversation offline if you could. That would be much
Yep.
appreciated. I want to go back over to I want to go to Alexander. Man, if you want to jump up, I just added you up as a speaker. I'd love to hear back from you if you're not busy now, and get you back up on stage, if we could. So, and let's see. But while you're coming up, did you want to go? Looks like Timothy, I added you up as well. Did you have anything to add, Timothy John Swain?
I just was wondering if Crypto Kate left permanently, because I was trying to, ever since I heard her mention something about asking everyone about what decentralized means, I've been trying to get a hold of her to have some sort of interview or something to talk about basically that, and like the sort of the double spend checking problem that most, I would say, misunderstand, and why it's fundamental to why BSV is going to basically why it's going to work. So, but if she kind of disappeared, then
she's got 100 different guys from crypto harassing her nonstop in the industry. So I don't know what to tell you, Tim. She's pretty popular. So
is she? So that's a good thing. Is she going to be like sort of like, if she does an interview with someone and it actually because she used to work, I guess, for Fox, does that mean there's going to be a lot of like viewership basically, where they're going to say, hey, what is this, what is this BSV thing? Because that seems to be one of the things, is that you can't even hear about BSV, or at least that's what the case was like a couple years ago, because I never heard about it until I specifically was trying to develop like this sort of like a hash graph type algorithm. I was like looking up YouTube videos and stuff, and then it was like the first time where I really came across Craig videos and BSV videos, and I was like, why didn't I hear about this before? I literally have been in this industry. Like, I used to work for a company where Charles Hoskinson was trying to hire our company to like prove smart contracts for Cardano. So, and I only remember vaguely seeing him arguing with someone on Twitter, and then I asked someone about it, and that was like 2018. And they're like, oh, don't worry about that. That's nothing. But I had this weird feeling of like, but that guy was saying like, hey, I'm the one who started all this. And I don't know if it was Craig, but it was like, it's just making me think like, well, if she used to work for Fox, like, hey, that's a good, that sounds like if she got like a big following, it's like, we need to get some people talking about some
she's
stuff.
welcome to come. Yeah, I had her up the last few weeks and today, so she's definitely gonna keep having her up and see how she can add value. She's brand new to the space, so it's somebody that we can definitely add to. And I wanted to see, we got Casey. Oh, Alexander, if you're available, come up. Oh man, I'd love to hear from you. I don't know who's that. Okay, yeah. Did he join? Casey?
No, I haven't seen him come up yet, but I did just add Crypto Voyager. Welcome to the stage.
Crypto Voyager, welcome, buddy.
Oh, hi. I actually lowered my hand, but okay, fine. If you have me now as speaker, perfect. Just one small thing. LLMs train by quantity. Yeah, so 10,000 developers is way better than just 10 developers on GitHub. That's one. So it doesn't really matter if it's casino tokens or whatever. And second of all, this whole thing is just basically the analogy of the stone soup. You cannot hit the guy that brings in the capers. Okay, if you just want a stone soup with some carrots in it and some cabbage and all that, fine and dandy. But if somebody just has capers to add to the thing, it's not productive to hit that one, to hit that guy that brings in the capers. Yeah, not everybody likes capers. Not everybody likes casino. Yes, there's a whole religion that says it's completely haram, the casino thing and the gambling and all that other stuff. But the mathematics of it, yeah, you would then publish the code on GitHub and train LLMs with that code. It's way easier. It's way easier in 2025 to build something on Solana than on BSV. Why? Because if you vibe code it, the LLMs have way more training data for Solana than for BSV. Take that as you wish. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Crypto Voyager. Always appreciate your wisdom. You're like a breath of knowledge, man, nonstop. Yeah, so
I'm very bad at sarcasm.
you're bad at sarcasm, but hey. Yeah. But you're good for knowledge and wisdom. Who do we have up, Casey?
Alexander came up for a second. I don't know if he's glitching or not, but he did pop up. So hopefully he can leave and come back because I'd love to hear from him about his perspective with working so closely with Greg and Brian Daughtry and them.
Yeah, the whole lobbying side is another angle. I mean, we started off in space, and I was talking with Craig Mason about look, we all have this whole flippening thing is different angles. That's what makes it amazing. It's not just one way. All right, the wallet infrastructure and the token protocol, that's one way, which is huge. It's like super important. The Teranode is a whole nother one. That's the back end of the refinery. Then the legal side and the lobbying infrastructure of the law. I know people don't like talking about law in this field. Well, that's too bad. That's just the real world. That's where we're at. We do have laws and we have lobbying. We've got a government. We've got Congress to deal with. That's a whole nother angle that's super, super important. It's all got to be playing out. I wanted to talk about that. If Alexander Mann comes up, we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's another thing with Reggie Middleton with his freedom to operate posts that he keeps making. Like none of these huge companies did any kind of analysis prior to launching these big, operations that are potentially infringing on all kinds of IP. So it's going to be
on the other side of the angle, right? So there's then you've got the perspective that says, well, that's a waste of time. We can't control that. Dude, I'm with you. So don't focus. We don't want to focus all our energy on that, but it's one of these things that it's true. Yes. These people didn't do freedom to operate, protocols, where they went out and hired attorneys to make sure that the whole industry wasn't covered in patents before they launched their businesses. They didn't. That's why they got sued with Coinbase and lost. That's why Brian Armstrong's there in Congress trying to figure out stuff with the Clarity Act right now. So yeah, it is true, but we really, as the little guys, we really can't change that. I think that's the point that like a person like Jack Liu wants to make. He's like, well, focus on what you can change, what we can do, one step at a time, one baby step at a time, to make a difference. So let's see. Anybody have their hand up? Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe I can say some stuff when Alex is trying to connect. I think one of the things that we are very much trying to do on our side as well is trying to look at use cases that are actually not crypto related directly. So like that regenerative farming community creation that is using blockchain as the single source of truth for a huge community of people that want to interact with each other. And there's many, I think Tokenizing is doing the same thing. They need some kind of blockchain, but they're not selling BSV in that sense. They're just selling that, the aspect of the truth machine, of a single source of truth. And there's lots of business models that can be thought of where you have this transaction processing machine that's the cheapest and fastest in the world. It's the best thing since sliced bread. It is absolutely amazing. And there must be business ideas out there. I'm not saying that I have. You guys probably have more ideas about that than I do. I'm not just in code all day, but that's what we need to use this technology. How can you leverage this technology to be more competitive in industries that are there? One of the things that we're also talking to, which is super interesting, is the whole audit trail. The Alex Mann is also working on stuff like that. But that's not just putting data on chain, because that's like cute. But if you do that in the correct way, now you have this provenance of your data, and that actually has value. So we are seeing in some industries, you could lower your insurance premiums of running your business by actually collecting data and putting that on chain. Nobody cares if that's BSV or something else, but BSV will be able to run that. These are the kind of things that we need to build. This is a real business that uses the blockchain, but in that sense is not selling the blockchain. I think we all know this. We're probably the most hated crypto in the whole space, but who cares? We've got this amazing competitive advantage, and they're ignoring us, which is actually a good thing, because now we can build these things on top of that using this, secret knowledge the rest of the people don't have. That's what we need to do, and that's exactly what we're trying to do, is working with companies that are doing that. They're creating a business that need this, but not exactly selling the BSV. But I need to drop off, so I'm probably
Thanks,
going to be
Siggy.
listening. But
Also,
thanks for having me.
yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. And I still have a show that I did recorded with you and Connor over there in UK that I'm producing. So that's kind of becoming, it's like a panel. You guys weren't actually on stage at the London Blockchain Conference, but when I got there, you and Connor were there, and then I had that little panel that we did. So I got that all on
Yeah,
camera, and it's going to be coming out. It's going to be good. So
you ambushed us.
I ambushed you guys. Yep, that was.
Yeah, you did. It was
Con-
good. It was good.
Connor was nervous. He said.
Yes.
It was an ambush panel. That's right.
Thanks for joining us, Siggy. It's great to
Yeah.
hear from you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Later.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else anybody else want to raise your hand before we wind down today? Let's add anybody else up, Casey, that we have any other comments or questions. Raise your hand or save your piece. We'll wind down. Anybody have any requested? We got Steve. Approve. I'm going to approve you. And Block Fictional, you're up, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm good, and once again, Gavin, thanks for the space. I really learned a lot in the last hour. So I didn't get the beginning of the space, but so far it's been great. I was going to ask Siggy a question. Too bad he had to drop out, but perhaps Mitch could answer this. And it's in regards to vibe coding with BSV. So I've been trying to get a friend of mine who's a developer, a backend developer, to dabble a bit in BSV, and the feedback I got was that if you aren't familiar with blockchain coding, it's kind of daunting, and I was hoping that maybe with vibe coding, it's a better, an easier entry into blockchain coding, especially on BSV. And my question would be, I think Siggy mentioned that he had interns being able to spin up an app in just days. And I think what would really help the space would be if you could just really do a simple video tutorial of how you actually use an LLM to vibe code with BRC 100. I think 1 or 2 video tutorials would really help not just people who have a coding background, but also those who have absolutely no coding background
That's a great idea. I'd be
this.
willing to help syndicate that if that's something we can do. I would be happy to, Mitch, if that's something you're interested in doing, or you want to answer that question.
Yeah. So my guys are refining their strategy because I forget who came up and was saying that like it's way easier to build on Solana because all the Solana code is in the distribution of training. Right? BSV code is, first of all, brand new. Second of all, way more sophisticated. So it's completely outside of distribution. So the LLM is powerful, but you have to be directly in control, and you have to understand the primitives that you want to use. So gets back to my original point, which is, hey, BRC wasn't built in a day. It was built over years of compiling different standards, and you got to understand each of those. And BRC 100 outlines each of those, but you got to dive in and you got to really figure out why you're using it and how you're using it. And then once you're at the level of architect and you understand what each brick is made of, and you don't have to go build the bricks. You don't have to go dig the dirt and put it in the concrete mixer and pour the water and pour the concrete. You already have the bricks. They were pre-built. Okay, now you are the architect and you need to know where to put each brick in this structure that you're going to build. And that is really going to be your role. And you can't just tell it. You can't just say, I want the house now. No, you got to build it piece by piece. You gotta build this function. You gotta understand why it's doing something. You gotta move from one page to the next page. It's it's yes, the AI can help a lot, and if you focus your efforts on the back end, then the front end is really just going to spin itself up because AIs are very good at React, and all of this is based on React. So AIs can spin up a great front end. You could use Lovable, you could use Claude Code, any of them. But it's going to be to each their own. At the end of the day, we can we can show a video of how we might set up MCP servers or how we do our stuff, but that's really the fundamentals. It's like you can't one shot this stuff. It's completely out of distribution, and there's nothing we can do to avoid that other than go train our own LLM. But that's going to cost a lot of money. Eventually, it'll get done, but not now and not soon. So you've got to be a lot more hands on, but you don't have to. You can go to Mexico and you don't have to speak Spanish, and you can get around just fine. You can use Google Translate,
Well,
but you can't be stupid. Don't go down crazy alleys. Don't, go trying to buy cocaine. Like, chill
Thank you.
and
That's a good one.
figure out what you're gonna do.
I like it. I'll work on. I'm open to doing a video like that. We could, if Mitch wants to help with that, we could potentially do it. It sounds like there's no easy solution, and just making it all work for everybody. So, Steve, over to you, buddy.
Thank you, Gavin. Thank you, Casey. Yeah, my question is along the same line, but first I wanted to acknowledge a big win happening recently in the BSV community with Craig Wright's interview with Neil Oliver. I think that was a big pivotal point. Definitely a
It
good
was.
way to get the word out with a wide enough audience to kind of gather more awareness about, what's really going on, what's real and what's not. And then the other pivotal event that started out the week was this Cloudflare outage. So in light of a lot of these building platforms that are available, such as, Lovable and Replit, and then, a lot of the LLMs that are making coding or building apps much more feasible, I almost feel like it's all for naught though, because it's still setting up for a Web 2 infrastructure. And when we're looking at Web 3 and how to be more immune from these centralized cloud servers and these outages that are taking place, such as the AWS that happened, a couple of months ago, to which Solana was also victimized with. So the majority of these, crypto projects are still all under Web 2 infrastructure. But I'm more inclined to just wanting to learn just those projects that have that Web3 decentralized mechanism when building with it. And, I'm very interested in learning to, learn more about BSV's architecture and how to build with that. And, whether we can build with it and ensure that it is decentralized and not going to be subject to a lot of these Web2 outages that are, that keep occurring. It's just, I think, a definitely progressive way to go, because I also see a lot of the apps that exist today, all the websites, to me, they're all obsolete because it's all Web 2 infrastructure. So we have a chance right now to rebuild from the start, from the beginning, with these, actual solid foundational, these particular projects that are based with true decentralization. And I'm very interested to learn more about how feasible, how easy, how capable it is to build on and with BSV moving forward. That's mostly it, but thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. That's really, let me go finish on the Neil Oliver point first. And that was really, really good. I mean, that's a huge, this guy's got 537,000 followers and he's doing a show with Craig Wright, and they're just really going deep on things. It was fascinating to see really, I mean, not mainstream, but pretty kind of mainstream. I mean, in a way, he's pretty huge. Yeah, and then back to your building point on Bitcoin SV, that really comes down to the token protocol. Well, I'm sorry, the BRC 100 wallet infrastructure. We got to start there. So that's MetaNet, that wallet, the one that fast.brc.dev. I posted it up in the Nest, fast.brc.dev. I don't have the answers to this or how to use it, but that's where I know you start at, and then we could use videos and with the large language models, like you mentioned, block fiction. And I want to go to Yanis. You're up on stage before we wind down. Did you have something to add? I just added you up, Yanis.
Yes, hello.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, it's Jans. So I missed like a whole huge chunk from the start of this conversation, but like now I listened at the end, and I thought to gather courage to do to give like my comments and also like do a bit of an advertisement. Yeah, so I've been I've been paying attention to BSV for like I don't know for maybe 5 years during like the Twitch existence time, Twitch whatever highlights. I actually was developing an Android application that was like also implementing that was also like a Twitch client side, and it ended up going nowhere. But I would want to say that so at some point I noticed there's like a really horrific like a chicken and egg problem. It's that, for example, like I was building the application I was building, it was using BSV as the gas tank for the features that you get in the application, which would be like touch and email and other stuff. But at some point I realized that that business, it seems like an immediate failure. Let's say at least currently, because like the problem is the chicken and egg problem is with the user base. Like in an application, for example, like let's just say there are 20,000 holders of BSV. Okay, so like that means that if I build an application that is like using BSV as the gas tank, then my success scenario, oh my god, I complete ultimate success is 20,000 users, which in reality seems like a failure. Okay, so but when I contrast that to like a business where I'm making money from let's say having people seeing the ads, then my user base is billions and billions of people. Like my potential upside is insane compared to like 20,000 in like, oh my god, everyone adopted it. Okay, so like I had whatever I encountered this problem, that realization, got a massive downer situation. Then there were like a few years were a few depressing years as well. But like now recently I figured out a solution. So like this is the
everybody's hanging on.
This is the advertisement part.
So give me what's the solution? Let's hear it.
Yeah, so the solution. So this Saturday, my application finally got approved on Google Play. You can find it. It's called Magic Faucet. So it's so the solution is to have like the user base.
Can you spell that for
me? Magic Faucet. The word magic and the word faucet in Google Play.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again, please? Or Casey, can you hear what he's saying? Magic
Faucet. Faucet.
Magic Faucet. Okay, got it. Go ahead. Sorry, Yanis.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and so it's like it seems like this is like the solution to like the chicken and egg problem. It's you build. Like I think like the chicken and problem can be solved by suddenly like 100 faucets appearing on all street corners of all like the top cities of the world, and everyone like can get like whatever a cup full of BSV, and then you explode like BSVU holders to like to crazy numbers, and then suddenly you will have like a demand for all the apps, like for the features, like built on top of BSV that everyone here has been like kind of talking about. Because like so that's the thing. So Magic Faucet is basically what I did is I smashed together. I'm not sure if you're now aware, but there are engaged apps available like on the Google Play Store, and I smashed together like an engaged app, engaged to earn app with Bitcoin, with BSC, and so I made it so it's I guess innovative in like two ways. There's like no gambling. Like the app has like zero gambling, and hoping that like that makes it makes like it doesn't get banned because of that. And that's one level up over my competitors, other engaged apps on the Play Store, and like the other like innovation in my imagining of an engaged to earn app is that it has instant withdrawals because of how awesome BSV is. The way it works, you open the app, you put in like a paymail where you wish to receive your coins, then you do a captcha for 30 seconds, then you watch an ad, then you get a sub-cent amount of BSV. And with this application, my user base is not limited to the BSV holders. A user base is limited to the people who can watch an ad. And it has like there are still some steps to do in the app. It's still for now only showing test ads instead of like the
I'm gonna jump
actual
in right
stuff.
now.
But
You're doing a great
Magic
job.
Faucet.
No, you're
My
doing a
ad
great
is
job.
done. I
No,
did
it's-
better than I thought.
No, you did a great
Just
job at simplifying, and I appreciate it. I wish we had more time to hear more about it. You know, I think it's really encourage you to do that. I think it's a fantastic idea. Sounds like you're able to get people in the real world to use the system without owning the asset. I mean, that's the big breakthrough. And if you want to share a link or anything, feel free to, or you can come back next time and we can do that. We'd love to support you. So. Closing thoughts. I don't see Brett Banify. Closing thoughts. Mitch, did you want to give closing thoughts?
Yeah, so I guess I can. Is the last guy still in here?
No.
Oh, okay. He kind of rebuilt something that is already open source on the BRC 100 stack. I'll let him know that there's a better direction to go, and he can start using that. Otherwise, it's it's unification through decentralization. That is MetaWatt's slogan. That is the BRC 100 standard. That is Bitcoin. We are unifying without centralizing because we're all speaking the same language. We're all moving the same data types. Each and every transaction is immutably verifiable and timestamped, and we have the tools to get it done at a global scale now. So I just encourage everyone to just get started. At the very least, I can't say that it's easy. It's the easiest it's ever been. That's true, but that doesn't make it necessarily easy. You have to have a skill set. I had to build a team, and now I've got a team of my best friends in the world, and we're working on this stuff full time. And I hope that each and every one of you finds that opportunity to meet, the smartest people you've ever met, build relationships the best they've ever been, and go change the world. And I've been blessed to have that opportunity, and Bitcoin is the thing that gave me that opportunity, and it's the same thing that will give you that opportunity to go change your destiny, your family's destiny, the destiny of the world, and every person in it. And give true and pure liberty back to the people through peer-to-peer electronic cash. And with that, I'll drop off. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's a good place to end it, guys. Thank you everyone for joining in and joining the stage. We'll do it again. Thank you, Casey, for hosting. Thank you for the kind words from the panel here. All the stage, Steve and Block Fictional, Siggy, Garrett, Bose, what's up? Timothy John, thank you. Matt Welsh. And I will see you guys at the top. We'll do it again. All right. All right. Later on. And be sure to subscribe on YouTube. I got a lot of stuff I'm putting out on there. So I will end it there.